Welcome back, America. It's Hugh Hewitt, joined by United States Senator Tom Cotton. Senator, good morning to you. I hope you had a great 4th of July.
Hey, Hugh. Did as very much. Hope you did as well.
We did. Now, I want to talk to you about Iran, but very quickly. I just talked to Robert Costa about the fact that the White House has only sent up 3 nominees for the federal circuit courts in 2019. We've got 2 vacancies on the 2nd Circuit. We've got 2 on the 9th Circuit. 3 out of every 4 of the nominees are white males. What has happened over at the White House counsel's office?
Well, Hugh, we're ready and eager to take on more circuit judges. As you may know, we're voting to confirm Dan Bress today to the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals, and we are certainly making a priority. Senator McConnell is bringing circuit judges to the floor as soon as they are out of the Judiciary Committee. I know the White House counsel's office had its hands full early this year with all the unreasonable and ridiculous requests for documents and interviews from the House Democrats. But we really do need to get every one of those circuit judge positions filled, and I know that we're going to get them all filled before the end of this Congress.
All right, now let's turn to Iran. They are being intentionally provocative. How do you believe the United States should respond?
Well, we shouldn't issue any. Now that they've breached the enrichment level limits of the nuclear deal from the Obama era, we certainly shouldn't give them any of the nuclear waivers that we are reviewing every 90 days or so. Those expire in about 4 weeks, so we should finish off those. That will cut off all European support for their nuclear program, which is clearly a weapons program, not a civil nuclear energy program. And second, we should implement the so-called snapback sanctions from that nuclear deal as well. If you remember, that was a buzz phrase at the time designed to indicate that the Security Council at the United Nations wouldn't be able to veto, probably from Russia or China, a reimposition of international sanctions on China. Now that they're not adhering to the terms of that deal, there's no reason to continue those sanctions waivers. We should take that step as well.
Now, do you believe that Iran can survive on only Russian and China trade if our European allies get with us on this program? Do they have a chance to head off Iran going nuclear without violence?
So, you're asking whether Iran can survive is a very low threshold. They can survive, and they have survived for 40 years because the Ayatollah's pain threshold is extremely high when it comes to economic deprivation. Remember, they're not the ones being deprived, sitting in their mansions and eating their caviar. It's their people that are suffering as their economy is contracted by more than 10%, and inflation is almost 50%, and that's going to go even higher if these sanctions go back into place. But can the regime survive from an economic standpoint? Yes, it probably can, because it is so deeply committed to its nuclear program. That nuclear program, however, cannot survive if we revoke those final 5 nuclear waivers under the nuclear deal. And remember, that's what the Ayatollahs want more than anything, is to master the uranium enrichment cycle, which is the critical ingredient to creating their own nuclear weapons.
Now, Senator Cotton, the key $64,000 question, to use the old cliche, is will President Trump and or Israel and our European allies allow Iran to get a bomb? Or will we take military action if necessary to prevent that?
Well, we ought not, and the president has said that he will not. We're a ways from that so far, but Iran should take the president at his word that they will never be allowed to get close to a nuclear weapon.
You say we're a ways from that. I've heard breakouts as low as 4 to 5 months, breakout being going critical, possessing the capacity to detonate a nuclear weapon. What do you think the minimum amount of time we have is?
I don't want to get into that level of specificity, but I will say it's months, not weeks.
Well, you see, that really does put pressure on everyone to focus on this, doesn't it? Does the European ally or the EU get the fact that we're getting close to the breakout moment where Israel's hand, if not ours, is forced?
Well, Hugh, as you often joke about some of the American authors of that plan who are still holding awake for its demise,
yes.
Many of our partners in Europe are still holding awake as well and doing anything they can to keep it alive. But they have long said that if Iran breached the enrichment levels, they would have to reassess their position. They need to accept the fact that that deal is dead. It's time to eliminate all Western support for Iran's nuclear program by revoking those nuclear waivers, and it's time to reimpose the so-called international snapback sanctions that were waived during the deal.
And so a final question. When you look over at United Kingdom, you have Boris Johnson and Jeremy Hunt. Do you think the president will have a partner in either of them in bringing Iran to heel on this?
I hope so, Hugh. I know that's not probably foremost on the minds of the Conservative Party voters in Great Britain as they talk through the implications of Brexit. But I believe that once that matter is settled, and again, we'll have a lot more clarity later this month by the time that election is closed out in the Conservative Party, that either one of those potential prime ministers will understand that the UK's cooperation with Iran has reached its end.
Senator Tom Cotton, always a pleasure to talk to you. I hope you have a great week as everyone gets back to work in Washington, D.C. I hope you call up Pat Cipollone at the White House and say, send us those nominees for the 2nd and 9th Circuit. And we don't want any more white males, much as we like white males. We need some diversity. Don't go anywhere, America. Don't go anywhere.